This episode is brought to you by Nana's Deli. Looking for a taste of classic comfort? Head to Nana's Deli, a local legend since 1981. With 2 convenient locations in Livingston and Jersey City, Nana serves up the best in deli goodness. Whether you're craving their famous tuna salad, mouth-watering sloppy joes, pile-high pastrami, or a bowl of their signature soups, every bite is a taste of tradition. And don't forget to order my signature Food Czar Flats. Plus, Nana's Deli offers catering perfect for any occasion because who doesn't love great food made with care? Visit Nana's Deli today and experience the flavors that have been making memories for over 40 years. Make sure you mention Food Czar Podcast to receive 10% off your next order. Visit nanasdeli.com for menus, hours, and locations. Welcome to the podcast Behind the Counter with your host, me, Heidi Blum, also known as the Food Czar. I was born and bred in Livingston, New Jersey, and I have seen firsthand over the past few years how food and the people behind the counter can bring a community together. We all have a story. We all have an appetite. Each episode will explore the thread between food, people, and community and the stories that weave them all together. So let's get behind the counter and dig in. Here we go.
This is Behind the Counter.
Behind the counter.
With the Food Czar. Here's Heidi.
Welcome back to another episode of Behind the Counter with the Food Czar, which is me, Heidi Blum. And today we are at the amazing Belgiovines. We're at Belgiovines Italian Deli and Pizza in Montclair.
Oh, yes.
And I am sitting with Belgiovines' very own Petey.
Yep.
And
Dimatteo.
I was going to say, pronounce your last
Yep.
name. It's like too much Italian for me in one sentence.
I know, I'm sorry.
It's
can't
never
contain it.
never apologize. So, Petey, I'm so glad we're sitting down because it was recommended that I came here and I did one of my videos.
Yes.
And then that video, I mean, every person was like, "We love it there. We love it there. We love the
you.
family, nicest family." And me personally coming in here, it was like walking into like a little Italian village.
Yep.
And especially having your adorable mom who doesn't want to be on camera,
No.
doesn't like her voice.
She made sure she got out of here before you got here.
I know, I saw. And your sweet dad,
Yep.
who popped out of the pizza
Yep.
section.
He usually does that. He
So,
pops
so
out.
that was pretty amazing to me, and it made me say I want to sit down with you and just sort of hear about the history of the
Absolutely.
deli and how your family sort of came up. Because I think there's like, it sounded from your dad that there's like 5 Pete's in your family.
Yeah, a lot of Pete's, a lot of Alfonsos, a lot of Robertos too, which a lot of people like to mispronounce, or they don't like to mispronounce it, but it just doesn't roll off the tongue as easily as Pete does.
So let's get into Petey.
Yep.
Let's get into little Petey. Tell me about your family and how we got to end up at Belgiovines Deli in Montclair.
Absolutely. So it all started, I guess, when my grandfather came here from Italy in 1957. He didn't really want to come here. My grandma kind of forced him to, but,
Smart woman.
Yeah, I
Well,
know.
I don't know. Leaving Italy is tough too.
I know. Well,
yeah.
He ended up buying a little corner store in Newark, which he ran for a few years. They popped out 5 kids in 7 years. So he had to obviously provide for all of them. And when my uncle was born, who was the last one, he convinced my grandmother to move back to Italy. And when they were there, I guess because he had built up a business over here and had, not a lot of money, but some money, a lot of people over there started noticing that. So somebody pulled my grandmother to the side and said, "You want to keep your money, go back to America." So I think that was enough for her to say, "All right, let's go.
We're back."
We're back. So came back here. Not long after they moved back, he bought a little supermarket in Bloomfield called First Avenue Market. He owned that for about 45 years.
Wow.
So that's where my dad and my uncles got their start. My dad ended up leaving in 1989. He bought his first business in, it was like right outside of New Brunswick. It was a U-Shop supermarket.
Yeah.
Same kind of deal, a little bit bigger than what my grandpa had, but he owned that from 89 to 2001. And while he was there, my uncle, who's his partner here, he ran my
That's
grandfather's
Alfonso?
store. No, that's Liberto. My
okay.
grandpa was Alfonso.
Okay.
My uncle was Liberto, and he stayed there, ran everything until they sold it. My dad sold his business in 2001, started working for Pepsi as like a sales guy.
Sure.
Ended up leaving that and started working at King's, where my uncle Alberto was working after he, after they
Oh,
sold
wow.
my
Which
grandpa's store.
Kings?
My uncle was in Morristown, I want to say, because he lives closer to that area. My dad bounced around. I know he was in West Caldwell when they first opened up.
Okay, yeah.
So, yeah, they were both working at King's. They were there for a few years. They both were miserable. So, at one point, my uncle said, you know what? Why don't we go into business together? Let's look for something. My dad was a little hesitant. He was obviously not happy with the situation that he was in. So, he said, you know what? We'll take a chance. Why not? My uncle found the deli for sale. And
This deli.
This deli, yes.
Okay.
And he's like, come on, let's go for it. Let's do it. But my dad, obviously being like the hesitant person that he is, he said, I don't know. Like, we don't really know anything about fresh mozzarella and antipasto and homemade ravioli.
I was going to ask, did they know how to cook?
They know how to cook. Well, they're butchers by trade. So
Okay,
they
so
know
that's what
meat.
they were doing at the
Yeah,
markets.
exactly.
Okay, got it.
Yes.
Okay.
So they know, chicken, sausage, beef,
Yeah.
braciole, all that sausage, which we still make here. And my dad was like, I don't know. That's, we'll see. I think my uncle just kept pushing him and pushing him. They said, you know what? All right, let's take a chance. So that was in June of 2008 that they took over. And it just took off. Obviously Montclair was not what it is back then like it is now.
Yeah.
So as the town grew, so did we.
Yeah.
We renovated, made everything new, changed the recipes around. Not the mozzarella recipe, obviously that's still the same. But, changed the chicken, the eggplant, everything else, and it just, it is what it is now because they took that chance and made it the way it is.
So was the owner of Belgiovines, was that Belgiovine?
So the original owner was Belgiovine. They
Okay.
opened up in 1978. They ended up selling it 2 to 3 years later to the people that my dad and my uncle bought it from.
Okay.
And then they were here for about 25 years, I want to say.
Okay.
And now they have a place in Kenilworth that
Okay.
they've been at since they sold this.
And did those owners teach your dad and your uncle certain recipes and just how they ran the...
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Like they stuck around for a few weeks after they sold it.
Yeah.
And then they had their employees that were here with them for a long time stay and, show them the ropes, but they ended up fizzling out afterwards because I feel like that kind of just happens.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, of
with
course,
change
yeah.
of ownership. But
Time to move on.
exactly, yeah. But luckily...
And make it your own.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
We found a good crew. It took a long time actually because, not everybody is the best when it comes to working in this business.
Sure.
So it took a long time to finally get set up and find the right people because for the most part, my dad and my uncle here were every day.
Right.
And originally they were
How
closed
old
on
how old was your dad about at the time?
50?
Yeah, I mean, that's...
50? Yeah.
I mean, at 50 years old to decide to open up an Italian
Yeah.
deli, that's brave.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, that's, yeah.
But, he had to do what he had to do.
Sure.
And I respect that, obviously.
Yeah, no, it's a hard business.
Yeah.
So to make that transition at that age, it's very hard.
Yeah, and especially since right after they bought that, that's when the housing market crashed
Oh,
in 08.
2008. Oh,
Yeah.
my God.
So, you're dealing with
Yeah.
putting all this money into a new business and then looking at everything just kind of come down. It's like,
That's very,
Yeah.
it's scary.
yeah, it was very scary. So, luckily we prevailed and, we're here now, thank God.
I mean, you're here and you're here very strongly,
Yeah,
by the way.
exactly.
So
Thank
now let's talk about how you fit into it.
Okay.
So you grew up with your dad and your uncle owning the business because you
Yeah.
were probably young. I mean,
Yeah,
2008.
14.
Yeah. So
It's
did you
weird.
work here when you were 14?
No, not really. I mean, I didn't probably start working here till like end of high school, but not as much, like just on the weekends helping
Yeah.
out and then like throughout the holidays because, pretty much you need everybody on deck at that point.
Sure.
Because it's very busy around here.
I mean,
during Christmas.
we're sitting here during the holidays.
Yeah.
I'm not sure when this is going to drop, but I mean, it's, first of all, very festive.
Yes.
And that's
Thank
what I
you.
loved about it when I came the first time. I
Yeah.
walked in, it's like a little it's a little Christmas wonderland. Yeah.
Yeah, I did that like right after Halloween, and everybody's like, "Why are you doing that?" I'm like, "I don't want to do it when it gets busy, so let's just
And
get
it
over
looks,
with
but
now."
it's warm and cozy. I mean,
Yeah.
it's everything that everybody looks for when they walk into an Italian deli.
Yep.
That you get it right
Yeah,
here.
Exactly.
So, were you like a sports kid?
Marching band.
No way. Were you
Yeah.
really?
Yep.
Wow, because you look like you'd be a sports
Yeah,
kid.
I know. Yeah. I mean,
What'd you play in the marching band?
I was on the drum line, so it's a little
Oh,
cooler.
it's very
It's a little
cool.
cool.
Yes.
Yeah. I did
The
big
snare?
bass drum. No, not the snare. It was the big bass drum and then the quints.
Oh, what's the quince?
It's like the 5 drums.
Oh,
set up, with all
that's so
different tones.
cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was
That's
heavy.
amazing. Did
Did
you
it-
play in a band? Like
Yeah.
besides marching
Yep.
bands?
Yep.
Like were
Me
you
and my
like
friends were in a band.
Yeah.
For a little while. We did
Did you-
pretty good, actually. I
What
wish
was the
we kept
music
it.
that you
It
played?
was heavy music.
Really?
Yeah.
Like heavy metal?
Yeah.
Wow. You
Yep.
don't think like kids your age, like I'm like kids your
Yeah,
age.
I know. 30 years old now.
Yeah, you don't think that you guys would listen to that. Like it just,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
I was listening to like Metallica and Korn in like 5th grade, 6th
Oh, I
grade.
used to love Korn. Yeah,
I'm going to
that's
see
awesome.
them actually. I just bought tickets yesterday.
Oh, that's so. Do you still play now?
Not so much. I mean, I would love to, but me and my girlfriend just moved into a house together,
That's
so
cute.
she definitely doesn't want to deal with the noise. So
Yeah.
And electric drum kits are like $2,000 at minimum.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. If you want a really good one, and they don't last that long, unfortunately. So.
Maybe your parents will listen to this and it's a nice Christmas present.
Well, I still have my drum set that I first got when I was in 6th grade at my parents' house.
Oh,
but
really?
It's a little miscombobulated right now. It's not fully set up, but I still have my friend Greg, who's in the band. He has his home studio set up, and he has a nice drum set, so I'll go over there and
That's
play with
awesome.
him for every now and again.
Good for you. You should. It's a good outlet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. I
So,
miss it.
so did you go to college?
Yep, I went to college. I went to Montclair State,
Oh, nice.
and I still worked here throughout then. Just on the weekends and like during the summer, I would work a few days during the week. During my last semester of college, I only had to take one class because that's all I needed to graduate.
Yeah.
So I was working here maybe like 4 days a week, and I was also working like the Franklin Steakhouse in Fairfield, like
Oh,
2-3
yeah.
nights a week.
Yeah, yeah.
And then once I graduated, still worked here throughout the summer. And then at one point, me and my dad had a conversation where like, went to college, got my degree. It doesn't make sense to kind of waste it by staying at the deli. So why not go out and try to get a job in the workforce? I can't speak right now. Sorry. In that field, that's what I was looking for.
Right.
And so I interviewed at the place that my brother was working at, who's an accountant.
Okay.
And I got the job. I was there from September of 17 to November of 18, so a little
year.
over 13 months. Yeah.
Yep.
And it just wasn't for me. It was,
Desk job.
desk job, sitting in traffic for an hour there and back every day.
Numbers all day.
Numbers all day, staring at a computer screen, sitting down, eating pizza 3 times a week because that was like the best thing around there. 'Cause
Yeah.
It was down in Edison, so there's really
I had a
just
feeling.
some
It's
food.
funny. I had a feeling you were going to say Edison.
really?
I don't know why. It's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's really not that far. Like I shouldn't complain because now my brother works in the city, so his commute's a lot worse.
Yeah.
And I have other friends that work there too, and they would probably take an hour drive down the Parkway over sitting in a bus or a train for 2-3 hours
Yeah.
just to get there and then come back. But I couldn't see myself doing that for the next 30 some odd years for and just being miserable the
Yeah.
entire time doing it. So. And then also at the time, my dad was complaining a lot about the help that was here.
Uh-huh.
He was saying, oh, this one showed up late, this one called out, this one's doing this, that, and this and that. So I was like, do you want me to come back? And he's like, listen, if this is what you want, I'm not going to force
Yeah.
you to do that. If that's, this is going to be on you totally. So I said, yes, why not? Just, I'm always going to have the degree and I'm always going to have the deli. So might as well just come back. And
So
then,
true.
Yeah. And then I just, figured if this wasn't going to be it long term for me, then I could always go back or figure something else out. So I came back November of 2018. We had another manager at the time working here, and he was kind of like the big dog on campus until he left, thank God. And that was during the pandemic that he left, like right in the beginning.
Oh, wow.
So
Thank God. Well, we'll get to that in a second. Yeah.
But pretty much once he left, I kind of had to step up and like take control of everything. And during the pandemic, I mean, I hate to say that. I don't hate to say it, but we went from like here to here,
Yep.
like in a matter of like a month
Real-
because of the pandemic.
So, because people are listening and can't see what you just did. So
Yeah.
what you're saying is you went from like your business was a small little business.
Yeah.
in
I mean,
the
it was always
solid,
decent.
solid,
But
solid
then
business.
it just took off.
exploded.
Yeah.
And okay, so why did it explode at that time? Was it the takeout
Well,
delivery? What was it?
well, we weren't on the apps at the time, which I regret not doing earlier. But
I mean, that's when the apps really started.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
so. I think a lot of the restaurants were trying to catch up to like,
Yeah.
oh my God, let's
it's
get that
catching on.
going. Yeah.
Yeah. But it was because we're not just sandwiches too. Like we have the frozen dinners, we have groceries. We were throwing out like heads of lettuce and tomatoes on the counters, trying to sell that too. But I just think because nobody could go out to restaurants and go out to eat, they were just cooking at home and eating, sandwiches and chicken parm and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
that's what really kind of elevated us to the next level. Since nobody could do anything. And then we kind of just maintained it ever since, luckily. So, so basically once he left, I kind of just got thrown into that position. And then I was actually going to I was going to take a test to become a cop in Essex Fells.
Oh,
right
wow.
before the pandemic.
They're very strict, those cops in Essex Fells. I'm just saying, you drive 1 mile per hour past that speed limit, you're done.
I know. I mean, luckily they have
I respect them, though. Just saying, if any of them are listening, I respect you very much.
Yeah, I know a couple people on the Essex Fells Police Department. They're very, very nice. But, I mean, luckily they have nothing going on over there because it's such a small town. And, I remember the one time seeing Essex Fells in the headlines was like 2010 when that old man was murdered in his house.
Oh, yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
That's like the only thing, knock on wood, anything has happened in that town. But I was getting ready to take the test, and then that's when the pandemic happened, and they pushed the test back. But they pushed it back so far that, like, in that time, my role here kind of propelled.
Bigger.
Yeah. So then at that point, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to stay because there's really no point in me leaving and letting this store fall apart without me. So,
and you were probably settled in here at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, kind of settled. Yeah. Because it was still like a little iffy as to what was going on during that time.
Sure.
But then, like, after things kind of settled down and we kind of, worked out the kinks during the pandemic, it became more at ease with my decision. So.
Sure.
I'm very happy that I stayed, obviously.
I'm sure your parents are too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think they would have minded because like I said, Essex Fells, nothing happens. If I was in like Newark or New York, then they'd be like, what are you doing?
But I'm sure they're happy to have you here.
Oh, yeah, they are.
Yeah. I mean, it's
absolutely.
nice to see that, how many siblings do you have?
So I have an older brother, and funny enough, me, him, and my dad all have the same birthday.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yep.
So you're Petey, but not Petey Jr.
I am Petey. Yeah, Petey Jr.
So
my dad's Pete.
So your dad's Pete.
Yep.
What's your brother's name?
Alfonso.
And Alfonso is there another? No, your grandfather was Alfonso,
Yep,
and then Libretti.
Liberto.
What's Libretti? That's a restaurant. Liberto is your uncle.
My uncle. So I have an uncle Liberto, and his son is Liberto Jr.
Okay.
And then he also has a son.
What do you call Liberto? Like
Libet.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It's funny when he got married, the priest was saying Libet.
Yeah, that's funny.
And everybody was laughing, like trying to hide it underneath their. But it's so Uncle Liberto, his son is Liberto. He has a son named Alfonso.
Okay.
And then my brother has a son also named Alfonso.
Oh my God! So that's Alfonso Jr.
Yeah, that's Alfonso Jr.
And you have the sandwich. The Fonz is after Alfonso.
Yep.
Okay, we'll get into the food, but I'm like trying. Your family tree is interesting because there's like a lot of the same names, so it's very confusing.
I know. My girlfriend said if we ever have a son, no more.
I mean, you got to break it somehow.
I know.
It's hard though.
Yeah,
I get it.
It is.
Would you go with Pete, or would you go with Alfonso, or would you go with Liberto?
I don't know. I might want to do my own thing, honestly.
Good. I like that. Okay.
We'll see.
So let's just talk about during the pandemic, and now you're like sort of exploding. Are you exploding? I know, like you said, like just because people were looking for food, and I mean, I know that's how I started, right?
Yeah.
I mean, all of a sudden, all the restaurants needed tremendous help. Did you pivot at all to making different foods? Were you doing family meals? Like a lot of the restaurants were doing family meals. Were you advertising? Were you on Instagram? Like I feel like all the restaurants now that's really how advertising works for all these restaurants, right?
Yeah.
And getting followers and all of that. So how did it explode in your mind at that time to where you are now?
Honestly, we didn't really do much advertising at the time. I mean, like we had the Instagram, we kind of were posting just to be like, oh, hey, we're open, like come on in. But we weren't like, oh, we're trying this out, we're doing this. Like we kind of just had to like stick to the basics because we were so busy that we didn't want to like go off the path and do something that we weren't comfortable with.
And it was probably hard to get items too. I mean, everything. Yeah.
It was, but.
And the cost of, right? I mean, the cost of the items was like crazy.
I think a case of gloves was like $20, and then they like jumped up to like $80 in like one shot, which is crazy.
Did you have the pizza place at the time too?
So funny enough, we built this, honestly. I don't know if you knew that, but we took this over in 2017, built everything brand new. It started off as a burger place.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because like I said, my dad and my uncle are butchers, so they knew like what meats to use for the
What was
burgers.
the name of the burger place?
Broughton Grill.
Yeah, Like, I mean, I'm always down here, so like now I'm like maybe ringing a bell. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a completely different menu. Burgers, ribeye cheesesteaks, pastrami and corned beef sandwiches and Reubens, milkshakes. We got ice cream from Holston's in Bloomfield, which is the best.
I mean, the best.
Yeah. And we got the pastrami and corned beef from Carnegie Deli.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So this was like another monster at the time.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't different kind of monster, I
Sure,
should say.
yeah.
Because like it was busy, but like the help that we had were horrible. Like we just picked up anybody off the street that said they could flip a burger, and they just, we just ran with it. But, it wasn't the greatest. The food was spectacular, but the service and, the presentation wasn't the best.
Sure.
So, kind of dwindled down a little bit. We lost some people. We shut down for like a week or two. Ended up trying to rebuild again. We hired a couple guys. The guy who's the pizza man now is staring at us.
He's the best. He has to have been here for a long time.
6 years, 7 years, I want to say.
I mean, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
And he
it's a little too long.
He makes a mean pizza. I
He
mean,
does.
it's early and he's already humping it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So he was one of the first guys that we hired to try
What's
to...
his name? Give him a
Walter.
shout. Yeah, Walter.
Walter.
He's Walter.
Yeah,
He
Walter.
does not look like Walter. You don't look like a Walter. Thumbs up, baby. That's it. He was showing me his videos.
Costa
Yeah.
Rica de Oaxaca. That's his Facebook page.
Yeah, I know. He was telling me about his videos. He's cute.
So we hired him. We hired another couple guys, and then they ended up fizzling out. So he was basically the main guy on the grill at the time.
Right.
And that was 2019. So we started getting the business back up a little bit, and then the pandemic happened.
Right.
And then everything kind of shut down. Well, we shut down a little bit just because we didn't know if this was like going to work at the time, because it was still considered a sit-down restaurant.
Yeah.
But the deli got so busy that we said, you know what? We're wasting you over there. Come to the deli. We'll figure this out later on. So
Right.
he was with us on the deli for like 8 or 9 months. We ended up connecting with a customer of ours who's a commercial real estate agent.
Yep.
He was looking around. He's like, wow, this place is beautiful. What are you doing with it? And, my dad told him, we're not doing anything really right now. He said, oh, well, I have a client who's looking for another pizzeria. Maybe this would be beneficial for him. Like, instead of him, buying a new place and
Right.
renovating it, like you have everything already set up. So it was, I don't know if you know Tony D's in Caldwell.
Sure.
So he ended up connecting us with Tony. Originally he was going to run it, but then he decided to back off because he was so busy with his place.
Right.
So he said, you know what, I'll still supply you with the inventory. He makes like preformed shells for the pizza. So all
Yeah.
you got to do is just decorate them, throw them in the oven, and you're good to go.
Yep.
So he was supplying us with the shells, the dough, cheese. We ended up revamping it a little bit and just getting the doughs and the shells from him. So now we use our sauce, our mozzarella, our sausage. Everything is ours except for the dough.
Right.
And I don't know where I was going with that, honestly.
No, I was just asking you about the pizza place. So when
yeah.
it turned into the pizza place.
Yeah, so that's how it turned into this. And
Yeah.
then, we started doing that in February of 21, I want to say.
Yeah.
So it's been that. And then my brother actually revamped it to like the square pizzas to round pan pies not too long ago. And that's kind of what propelled us to the next level
Yeah.
in terms of, business here. So, the pizza is very good. I'm not just saying it.
No, it is. My son ate I think I took home a pepperoni and he loved it. I don't eat pepperoni, so I didn't try it,
Yeah.
but it looks.
That's good. Pepperoni's not healthy for you.
It looks,
at
no,
all.
that's why I tried
But
it.
it's delicious.
Yeah. But the pizzas look
Yeah, they are very
insane
good.
and they smell, it's
Yeah.
because they're cooking right now, so it smells amazing.
When everybody comes in and says, oh, it smells really good in here, I said, oh, yeah, we all shower today.
We use, what's the Sentu pizza? Yeah.
Yep.
And I was going to say, when you were talking about the cheesesteaks, I brought home a cheesesteak,
Yeah.
which I just don't eat meat, but I eat poultry, just not red meat. But my son again said your cheesesteak was one of the best he's ever had.
Thank you.
So
Yeah,
but we'll
that's my
get
dad's
into
recipe.
I was gonna say we're gonna get into the food in a second. So okay, so now you have the pizza place, the Italian deli. So and what would you say your role is now? So you were sort of managing now.
Yep.
So is that what you are, like the manager?
Yeah, I mean, mostly during the week, I'll be on the register, bringing customers up, making sure everything's good over there. But, putting in the orders, taking care of the catering, making sure the shelves are filled up, making sure the employees are, doing what they're supposed to, and just kind of delegating and coordinating and making sure everybody's where they
managing.
need to be. Yeah,
Yeah,
basically.
basically, yeah.
And then, deliveries, making sandwiches when I need to, because, like, if my mom's on the register, then I'll be in the mix.
So does your mom work here every day?
Not every day. So my dad and my uncle, luckily, are in a position where they can come in 3-4 days a week and not have to be here all the time like it was in the beginning. So when my dad works, my mom works.
That's
so,
cute.
Yeah.
It's cute. I mean, I love like a family-owned place because it's just, there's something, especially when the family gets along and you can tell like all three of you do. So it's really nice. Does your brother work here ever at all?
He will during the holidays, and then like every other Sunday he'll come in because one of our main guys has alternating days off on Sundays.
Right.
So when he's not here, my brother will be here.
Because you're open 7 days a week.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't always like that. I feel like Monday's like the Italian national holiday for delis and pizzerias to be closed.
Yes.
But that was my dad and my
that's
uncle's
funny.
decision.
That's an interesting thing. Why is that?
I don't know.
It just
I think
is
it's just
that
like
way, yeah.
It might be a little bit slower for some businesses.
Yeah,
but
like regroup, get your inventory back in, stuff
But
like
I feel
that.
like Sundays, are a shorter day for everybody too. So it's like they get a half day on Sunday and then off on Monday, so you're losing a lot of business in that
and
time.
they're making Sunday gravy.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. My mom does that a lot, so it's always fun going over there and having spaghetti. Meatballs.
Oh, so your mom cooks?
Oh yeah.
Oh
Cooks
yeah.
a lot. Yeah.
Does she cook anything for here?
Not really. We used to have on the counter over there, like where we have like the rice balls and the egg rolls. We used to make chicken rollatini.
Yeah.
It's like chicken cutlet stuff with mozzarella and ham and like salt, pepper. And there's one customer that always calls it up and says, let me get like 15 pieces of it. So she'll make that for like whenever they order it.
Yeah.
But she's mostly just cooking at home for us. Like, it's funny because Thanksgiving came along and she didn't want to worry about cooking for Thanksgiving after working here those 2-3 days where it's crazy. So she said, you know what, we're going to have Thanksgiving on the Sunday before. So like my girlfriend, her parents came over. We had, a couple other people coming over. We had the turkey, ham, stuffing, all that stuff on the Sunday. And then on Thanksgiving,
so much better.
we
You
just
chilled, which is it's actually so nice that way. Yeah.
It is really
A
nice.
few people I see have done that, which is nice.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's a hard holiday.
Yep.
So do you think ultimately you are happy with your decision that you did not stay with accounting, did not go to police school?
Yep.
Police Academy.
Police Academy,
Police
doesn't
school.
sound like fun.
Police Academy, yeah.
Good movies, but not fun in real life.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely happy. I mean, it would have been interesting to see how that would have worked out to be a cop and work here at the same time because I feel like the schedules could have lined up perfectly, but it is long hours too being a cop. And I think you're like 12 on, 12 off. I don't know how they do it in Essex Fells, but I'm definitely happy with my decision staying here and accounting. It's funny because if I deliver to like a corporate office, I'll walk in and I won't hear anything. I'll just hear like a radio in the background and like the keyboard
clicking. I
just get PTSD. I'm like,
I know.
It's like,
it's such a different world too. I mean, you just, back in, like when I was working, you worked in an office and that's what you did. But now there's so much more and
exactly.
You got to live your life,
That too.
You have one shot. So being the next generation of Belgiovines Deli, do you have any ideas, a vision for here, or do you say, like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it?
I mean, I do have some ideas. I mean, I would like to branch out and open another spot, but, I should have my head examined for wanting to do that.
Yes.
But, you always got to try to be ambitious and try new things. So, obviously I want to grow the social media aspect of it too, because, I started taking over the Instagram once, I came back, and then we started doing TikToks earlier in the year. So, I'm not quite where I want to be with that. So that's something I would like to focus on.
Time consuming.
It is. Yeah. And luckily, like, I have a friend who owns like a social media company, and he always tries to like get me to sign up and have his company work with us.
Yeah.
But I don't know if my dad and my uncle would want to, write a check for that every month.
I understand. Yeah.
Because they're very old fashioned.
Especially when you're capable of doing it right now too.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm happy with what I do. Like I should be doing it more, but I would like to see it grow to another level at some point.
Yeah.
But I think definitely social media and just maintaining what we've been doing for the past 16 years and trying to grow it a little more each year as we go along. And maybe one day we'll get another Belgiovines opened up somewhere.
There you go. I like that. Why not?
Well, that's actually how this side came to be, because my dad was in the hospital with cancer in 2015.
Who was your dad? Was
my dad was? Yeah.
Okay.
And luckily, he's been cancer-free.
he looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's doing very well for the past 10 years now. So we're
Wow.
very lucky that he's out of the woods with all that. But when he came out of the hospital, they were like, oh, let's look for another location. So they went around to a few towns and looked at a few places, and nothing was worth the money that they were looking
Sure,
for. And
yeah.
everything was just kind of like, why are we going to put our time and resources into this? So they're just about to like call it quits. And the landlord came up to them, not knowing that they were looking for another spot, and said, oh, why don't you take over this place? And they said, oh, that could be a good idea. So then that's when Broken
Yeah.
Grill came to be, and that's how we got this place now.
So let's get into the delicious food
Okay.
that is here.
Yes.
When I came the first time, there was, and it was probably around the same time, which is like 10 in the morning, 10:30 in the morning. The back, like the deli counter, like behind the guys working back there, they were piling up stacks of meat. I don't know. You had all the chicken cutlets,
Yeah.
the eggplant cutlets. You call that
Yeah,
eggplant
call them
cutlets?
eggplant cutlets.
Yeah. What would you call them?
Oh, yeah, eggplant cutlets.
Yeah, okay, eggplant cutlets. So the chicken cutlets, the eggplant cutlets. The food, you walk in here, you automatically know you are in like the best Italian deli in New Jersey, in my opinion.
Thank you.
Because you have, first of all, it's lined with what looks like home cooking.
It is, yes.
I mean, that's, that to me is what makes an Italian deli an Italian deli. It's
Yep.
not like the presentation just looks like it's like inviting.
Yeah.
Right? So let's talk about, there was just a group of kids behind us. And again, 10:30 in the morning, chowing
Yeah.
down on massive
Yep.
Italian
They come
sandwiches.
all the time, those
Yeah.
kids.
So what's the most popular sandwiches that you have that you would say?
I would say the MKA, which is chicken cutlet, prosciutto, mozzarella, lettuce, and balsamic, which is what the kids from MKA came up with. They would come down, order that sandwich, and then after a while, we're like, oh, why don't we just add that to the menu and call it the MKA?
Yep, smart. Yep.
Yeah. Then the MHS, because we can't leave them out.
No, you can't.
That's chicken cutlet, bacon, cheddar, and Russian.
Yum.
It's very good. The cheesesteak, obviously, which is the sliced top round beef, American cheese, Land O'Lakes yellow cheese, which is the best. You only want to use whatever stuff they have in the delis or in the supermarkets now.
Right.
And just sauteed onions, because that's basically all you need. You don't need anything like no ketchup, no mayo.
Yeah.
Like I'm just plain, simple, and it's delicious. Like you don't need anything with that. Italian's always popular, just ham, salami, provolone with lettuce, tomato, onion, oil, vinegar.
Yep.
I've been trying out new sandwiches too. Like my friend Greg, who's in my band, he kept bugging me for years saying, oh, you got to put the sandwich on the menu. You got to put the sandwich on the menu. And it's actually a very good sandwich. It's chicken cutlet, prosciutto, mozzarella, roasted peppers, broccoli rabe, and pesto.
Oh my! First of all,
Yeah.
it's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's like how did you not have that?
I know. Well, I mean, we try
Right.
to keep things simple.
Yeah.
But like at the same time, we should branch out.
What'd you name it?
So he has an alias whenever he goes anywhere, where he doesn't want people to know his real name. His name is Nigel.
Yeah.
So we call it the Nigel.
Oh, that's really funny.
Yeah.
So
And they're like, oh, the Nigel at an Italian deli. I'm like,
that's
my
you know
friend.
what? Did it and is it selling?
yeah, it's selling pretty well.
Oh, so there you go. Thank you, Nigel.
Yeah, Nigel, Greg. whatever.
And then you have all the other Italian specialties like your
Prosciutto, supersad, salami, chicken cutlets, obviously. That's like our number one sandwich item by far.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, yeah. And then you have also, we're not sitting there, so I'm picturing it in my head.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I was with, I was getting my hair cut yesterday, and the girl who cuts my haircut said she gets everything from here.
Really?
Yes, Samantha.
funny.
So shout out Samantha.
Thank you, Samantha.
And she said the sun-dried tomatoes. We were talking about your sun-dried tomato. Yep.
Yeah,
so
people love those.
the sun-dried tomatoes, the roasted peppers.
All the antipasta stuff.
Yep, the artichokes, all of it. I mean,
Yep.
amazing. And then you have like a big catering business too, I think, right?
Yeah, it's decent. I mean, especially now with the holidays, because people are having Christmas parties, they're having people over their house. And then Christmas in general is just the busiest time of the year for us. Like last year, like I never really get stressed out or like anxious or anything. But
Yeah.
last year, I remember I was just like an anxious mess like the entire week.
Because it was so busy.
Because it was busy and there was just putting a lot of pressure on myself to make sure that everything went right and everybody was happy with their final product and they got everything they wanted and it was all,
Well, because you want repeat customers
Yeah,
too. And
exactly.
then you want whoever's at their house eating that food saying, oh my God, I'm getting this next time. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny because whenever I take orders for Christmas Eve, I'll see a lot of repeat names like from years past, and I'm like, oh, I know that person. But like if I see them in person, like I won't recognize them, but I'll recognize the name when I write it out. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that's so funny.
So when you do Christmas Eve, is it like like I go to my wife's family and we do like the 7 fishes and all that. Like, is that what you like? What do you do?
Yeah, I mean, we don't really do a lot of fish, but we do like calamari and bacala salad, which is just like the fish with like, peppers, vinegar, onion, garlic, salt, pepper, all that stuff. Which is kind of taken a step back recent years. I don't know if that's just like a generational thing or if people just aren't really going for that anymore.
I bet you're right, actually. Yeah.
But the antipasto platters are definitely like our number one Christmas item by far. Yeah. We do, I think last year we did like 60 of them altogether.
Is that a lot? I mean, I would assume that's a lot. Yeah.
Like
for a small deli.
Yeah. My aunt, who's, married to my uncle Alberto, her daughter Gianna, my cousin, and then my cousin's wife, they come in like 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, the day before Christmas Eve, and they're just
putting them together
like all day.
I mean, that's what makes it fun too.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It is a nice family tradition in a sense. Yeah,
it is. I mean, they're not too happy about it, but I'm sure they don't mind.
I'm trying to paint a really nice picture. Yeah.
They're just like,
I know. Here we go. Like time to make the donuts. Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, and I think like the reason why I started doing Italian delis is we had one in Livingston, and a lot of people were like, where do we go now?
Yeah.
And like I said, I came here, and I have a friend from high school. I think she lives in North Caldwell, and she's like, you just let the secret out. So it's for people who are listening and have never tried the food here and feel like Montclair is too far. First of all, they have parking. You can park in, your mom was telling me, in Montclair Art Museum.
Yep.
You paid to have people park there.
Yeah, I know that's a big issue in this town because they're just building apartment buildings and restaurants left and right. So they actually took away a nice big parking lot over there for apartments not too long ago. So
shocking. I mean, of course, yeah. I mean, you drive around the block here and it's all apartments.
I mean, luckily you'll be able to find like a nice street parking right in the front, but it is hard. So you see a lot of people double parking, especially like the Uber and DoorDash drivers.
Yeah.
Like they just want to get in and out, so they'll just throw their hazards on, go and get the food and get out of there.
Yeah. But I would say also, you do carry a lot of Italian products. So it's not just the deli aspect and the catering aspect and the pizza.
Yep.
You do carry frozen foods to go.
Yep, that we make here.
Yep. Soups
that we also make here. Sauce. All
There's
the dry pastas
in there.
Yeah, cans of tomatoes. Mike's Hot Honey, which I started carrying not too long ago, and it sells pretty well.
The panettone.
Panettones. Yeah. I made sure I got those a long time ago because of the whole port situation back in October.
Oh, were those in the?
Those are imported.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I remember when I was finding that out, I was like, oh, let me just get all these things because Christmas is coming up, and God forbid we can't get them.
Yeah.
So that was a big bill.
That's amazing.
Of course, the next day they're like, oh, we're open again. So
of course, sucker. Yeah.
Yep.
But you do have a lot. So it's like an Italian marketplace also. So it's not just a deli, it's a marketplace.
Yeah.
But I would tell anyone that's listening, like I said, like even just the experience, I think, like I said, you walk in, it is warm, it is cozy, it is family owned. The food is delicious. It smells delicious. The staff, like Walter, is so nice. Not even listening. Is so nice, right? And I think it's, first of all, I love... I barely know you, but I love that you are not an accountant.
Yes, me too.
I love that you did not go to the police academy, and I love that you are the next generation that's going to carry this forward, because this feels like an institution. It feels like it should be here for a really long time.
Yeah. And it has been, so hopefully it's here for another 40, 50 years.
Yeah.
Or even beyond that.
I think you can do it.
I think so too.
I know you can do it.
I hope so. Knock on wood.
No, you can do it. Come on, Petey, you got it.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, it's a tough business to be in, but it's a good experience, and I'm definitely happy with the choice that I made, especially because instead of working till like 10, 11 o'clock at night at some accounting firm, 6 o'clock, see you later, I'm going home.
Doors are closed.
Yeah,
that's it. People respect the hours.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to. Doors are locked.
Yep. I mean, I'll still take. A lot of people have my cell number too, so they'll call me at home or text me like, "Oh, I need an order." I'll be like, "Okay."
Yeah.
So it really doesn't end even when you go home, but at least I'm not here. At least I'm not sitting in front of a desk or looking at a computer screen.
No,
all
you
day.
get to, first of all, you get to interact with people all day long.
Yeah.
Nice people, and you're making them happy by eating delicious food. I mean, it's like so easy.
Yeah, it's
right?
a win-win.
Yeah, exactly. It's a win-win.
Yeah, I'm definitely happy with that. And it's funny because when I left my accounting job, one of the ladies that worked there, she's like, "Oh, you're such like a people person. Like you're gonna be so happy." And I'm like, I hope so. It's much better than what I'm doing here, but
yeah,
I definitely Don't regret it at all.
Remember, I'm a lot older than you, so life is short. So it's very good that you are making the most of your time and being happy.
Well, I mean, I'm 30, so I'm almost there.
You're not almost there. I promise you. You are not. Enjoy it. Enjoy it all. I seriously.
I hope so. No, I will.
Petey, thank you so much.
Thank you,
again, Belgiovine.
Belgiovines.
Yeah.
Yep.
So thank you again for sitting and talking to me.
Thank you, Gianna.
And have a very happy holiday season.
You as well.
See,
Thank
you're
you.
actually getting a call. I bet
know.
you that's a catering
I know.
call.
I had to take 2 calls before I even sat down to do this.
See?
So.
Better answer it. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Addie.
If you are hearing this message, I want to thank you so much for tuning in. I'm truly grateful for you and this opportunity. The purpose of the Behind the Counter podcast is to bring food, people, and community together. I hope you'll return for more episodes and explore with me. I want to personally thank Fran Linnell of Design 68 for my amazing Behind the Counter podcast logo, and Travis Lohenberg for my awesome Behind the Counter music, and all the guests that take their time to sit and talk with me. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, please leave a review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you hear your podcasts. If you'd like to support the Behind the Counter podcast, please subscribe, share with your friends and family, and you can follow me on Instagram at Heidi Blum. If you have any feedback or stories that you want to share, you can email me at foodsarbtc@gmail.com.